On the news at 1. President Tinubu receives report on livestock reform to address issues in the sector. Federal government to investigate earth tremors in the FCT calls for calm. And FCT police commander waits handover to suspected ritualist and kidnapper. A very good afternoon. Thanks for joining us on 88 Channel 5 News at 1. I am Miriam Emekamadi. As electorate in Edo State prepare to elect a new governor this Saturday, President Bola Tinubu has called on all stakeholders in the upcoming Edo State governorship elections to conduct themselves peacefully and sportingly. In a statement by the Presidential Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga, the President implores the governorship candidates, political parties, and supporters to respect the democratic process and the people's will. President Tinubu expresses belief in the voters' ability to make informed decisions about their future leaders, while emphasizing that democracy thrives on civility, tolerance, and patience, and respect for rules for the game. He notes that the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has committed to conducting a free and fair elections and urge all stakeholders to work together to ensure a successful and peaceful process. The President commends the governorship candidates and political parties for their campaigns, which have focused on issues that matter most to the people of Edo State, including improving livelihoods, promoting economic growth, and contributing to national development. President Tinubu also expresses unwavering confidence in the professionalism and integrity of security agencies and the INEC officials, urging them to remain impartial and avoid any actions that could compromise the integrity of the electoral process. The Presidential Committee on Livestock Reforms Implementation has submitted its report expected to transform the sector for maximum benefits. Co-chairman of the committee, Professor Atahiru Jega, led some of his members to the State House to submit the much-awaited report to President Bola Tinubu.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
In his explanations to the President, the co-chairman of the committee expressed belief that the report comprises recommendations that are capable of addressing the issue in the sector, with particular focus on how to fully harness the potentials therein and measures to check the perennial farmer-herder clashes in parts of the country. The report also includes recommendations on structures for the Ministry of Livestock Development newly established by the President Tinubu administration. After their meeting with the President, members of the committee also briefed State House correspondents that the recommendations are all-inclusive
as to how our country can tap the potentials of the livestock sector in terms of opening up the value chain in this sector and ensuring that by so doing, we develop all sectors in the value chains to enhance economic growth and development, create jobs, and also ensure that we are not only able to bring about food, feed, and nutrition security, but we are also able to significantly begin to export many of the products that are associated with this sector.
The committee has equally recommended the hybrid method for cattle rearing across the country.
You cannot wake up tomorrow and all you have is ranching, because you already have quite a large chunk of the population in traditional pastoral activities. What do you do with them? You know, so it's not an either or. any solution that has to be developed for now has to be a combination of both. While we are promoting the long-term objective.
So what this committee has done is to look at the great opportunities that exist, how other countries have also achieved what we are talking about, and we are putting those into our system to ensure that this country continues to benefit from a sector which has great potentials, but which we have really poorly managed over a very long time.
With this pronouncement by Mr. President, the establishment of a Livestock Development, Federal Ministry of Livestock Development, the investors are more assured.
The Presidential Livestock Reforms Implementation Committee was inaugurated on July 9, 2024. Federal government is deploying solar mini-grid to underserved security formation across the country to ensure uninterrupted power supply to critical national security assets. Joshua Ojito reports that the Rural Electrification Agency targets solar connections of Nigeria Immigration Service Command and control centers in the next phase of intervention.
Reliable power supply, the Nigeria Immigration Service believes, is critical to its operations on digitization, border security and data protection, and the Controller General of the service seeks support of Rural Electrification Agency to connect its control centers with solar mini-grids for efficient service delivery.
Safety of that data, protection of that data, our energy source is critical. It's very, very important.
So far, the Nigerian military, the police and customs service benefited from solar mini-grid solutions, and the managing director of Rural Electrification Agency, Abba Aliyu, says Nigeria Immigration Service will not be left out.
Deployed about 156 mini-grid, working in 15 universities and 30 teaching hospitals. We also provided 100 intervention, 100 federal, secondary, and primary health institutions across the country, where we provided 50 kilowatt containerized mini-grid in such health institutions.
Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
Residents of Pape, Maitama, Asokoro district of Abuja, who recently witnessed earth tremors in their areas, have been urged not to panic, as the federal government is monitoring and investigating the root cause of the tremors. Acting Director General FCT Emergency Management Agency, Abdurrahman Mohammed, commenting on measures put in place, says experts have revealed that the tremors poses very low threat. Ramatu Abdullahi reports.
Following the recent earth tremors witnessed in some parts of FCT, mostly in Pape, Maitama and Asokoro districts, Acting Director General of FCT Emergency Management Agency, Abdurrahman Mohammed, said relevant agencies of government, such as the Nigeria Geological Survey and others, are investigating the situation. Pending the release of the report on the investigation, Acting Director General of FEMA said the agency has constituted a committee involving Abuja Environmental Protection Board and Solid Minerals Department, as well as consultants, to provide immediate solutions to the affected areas.
For now, the experts are saying that there's no cause for alarm. That's what they are saying. They've not really established the rule, the particular area, the line that the earth tremor follow. But they have told us that it's due to the fault line that's coming from Toro to pass through Abuja here, and it's going down like that up to Ekiti, around Ekiti side. So
earth tremors, which is a relatively small movement of the earth's surface, started in Pape, Asokoro and Maitama districts since last Friday. Ramatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
The FCT Police Command says it is aware of a video footage making the rounds about a lady who was criminally confined in a hotel in Wuse, Abuja on 17 September 2024 by an alleged internet fraudster, allegedly for money rituals. A statement signed by the command's public relations has taken the suspect into custody and is yet to hand over to the police for diligent investigation. The statement adds that the FCT Police Command, for all intent and purposes, awaits the NSCDC to hand over all parties for commencement of diligent and discreet investigation, as any further development will be communicated to the public in due course. You're watching the NTA Channel 5 News at 1, and still to come on the news. Non-oil export attains an increase of 6.26%, amounting to $2.7 billion in the first half of 2024. This and more stories after the break.
Good evening, glad to have you join us.
Thanks for joining us on Weekly News Wrap.
Thank you very much for having me.
And it is on that note we welcome you to today's edition of the program.
I will celebrate creativity, lasting impressions.
There's no book stating that this is the role for men.
On the news.
On the news at 7.
The
news station NTA Channel 5, Abuja.
Would say have a lovely day.
Thanks for staying with us. Now let's join the business desk for business news.
Many thanks indeed. Non-oil exports reached 2.7 billion naira in the first half of 2024, and FIRS sets to introduce e-invoice to enhance efficient tax system in the country. This is business news. I am Serafina Okon Umekwe. Available data from the Nigerian Export Promotion Council says that non-oil exports reached 2.7 billion naira in the first half of 2024, up from $2.5 billion in the same period last year. Now, this shift supported by the focus on semi-processed products, which marks a significant shift in Nigeria's export dynamics. Meanwhile, the FIRS, Federal Inland Revenue, says it is set to introduce the first e-invoice, a digital solution for managing invoices in line with the Tax Administration and Enforcement of 2027 Act. The FIRS chairman, Dr. Zacchaeus Adedeji, made this known at the LCCI FIRS Organized Private Sector Stakeholders Engagement recently. Adedeji said that the e-invoice was necessary as the country moved forward to innovate and enhance its tax systems. As the initiative is part of the Service Digital Transformation Strategy, which would facilitate real-time transaction validation and storage, benefiting business to consumers, and business to government transactions. The cryptocurrency trading platform Binance has outlined 2 conditions that must be met before it can be considered registering under Nigeria's Exchange and Securities Commission (SEC) special framework program for onboarding virtual asset service providers, including crypto platforms. Binance's position is in response to the regulatory framework set out for cryptocurrency platforms by Nigeria's regulatory body SEC, which includes opening an office in Nigeria, among other requirements. The SEC's framework applies to virtual asset service providers and token issuers conducting business in Nigeria or offering services to Nigerian consumers, including platforms that facilitate the offering, trading, exchange, custody, and transfer of virtual digital assets. Approval in principle to 2 crypto exchanges, which is the Quidex and Busha, giving them the status of legally recognized crypto trading platforms in the country under the Accelerated Regulatory Incubation Program. And moving on to local story. Groundnut is an important crop with long history that is grown worldwide, especially in the tropical and subtropical regions with huge economic and health benefits. Business correspondent Joy Ojim in this report takes a look at groundnut and its benefits.
Groundnut, one of Nigeria's growing commodity, generating wealth and food for many, have become an acceptable item in most Nigerian homes. This leguminous crop, widely cultivated for the edible seeds, is eaten by many around the world due to the sweet and nutritious benefits to the body system. Can be consumed raw, roasted, fried, or boiled, and used in various traditional dishes such as stew, soup, and sauce.
I like snacking on it because it's quick, it's a quick snack and it has mine to an extent.
Why I like it, that's why it doesn't do me anything. Some people complain that when they eat granite, they used to have malaria or pimple or something like that. They don't used to have that kind of problem.
This crop beneficial to the economy also constitute a plus to the human health, such as aiding the digestive system, reduction risks of heart diseases, among others.
As of last year, we used to say a cup is 100 naira, but due to the situation of this Nigerian, I'm selling it 200 naira per a cup, and it's very costly in the market. We used to buy the mojo 800 naira, and that's the reason why we are selling it to 200 naira, at least to get our own.
We are managing. It's not that it's our choice to sell the granite, but we are just managing because of the country, the condition of the country, and the granite business is small.
Addressing the challenges facing granite production and harnessing the varied potential will ensure continued contribution to global food system and sustainable development. In Abuja, Joy Ojim, NTA News.
The much-awaited Abuja cricket revival has begun with game masters from selected secondary schools participating in the first phase of the training. Sports correspondent Francisca Bile is standing by with the details.
I'm in Government Secondary School Wuse Zone 3 for the final day of cricket training for Games Masters from 13 selected secondary schools in Abuja. This is in line with the Abuja Cricket Revival, which is an initiative of the FCT Cricket Association aimed at introducing the game of cricket to students in the FCT. In this introductory phase, the teachers were intimated with the rudiments of the sports, which they will in turn impact the knowledge on their students.
When you play the ball up and the fielder catches it, are you in or out? Out. Yeah. It's called a dismissal.
For these 3 days training, we'll be learning a lot. We'll learn the fundamentals, the skills, and they let us know that cricket is a team, game.
In the time past, cricket looked like an individual struggle. Coaches will come trying to scout for players. They have approached us at quite a number of times seeking permission to be able to interact with our students. We obliged them the opportunity, but now this is the first approach from the Cricket Association seeking to collaborate with the FCT Secondary Education Board to officially introduce cricket as a game among senior secondary schools.
Even from the first day the game was introduced to us, I was very excited. And so I am privileged that the game is kicking off here. So which means my school is a pioneer school.
The chairman of the FCT Cricket Association, Emeka Oyema, is appealing for support and partnership from the government to promote the game of cricket in the FCT.
The main challenge that we are going through right now is that we need a ground. We need a ground where we play this game. After teaching these schools and getting them to play the game, we want to host competition and want to host it in FCT cricket ground.
What we want to do in FCT is to deepen the level of cricket in FCT through secondary schools in the SS 1 to 3 and JS 1 to 3.
At the end of the training, a total of 18 games masters were presented with the cricket materials to aid their students play the game of cricket in their schools. In Abuja, Francisca Bile, NTA News.
Up next is Sports Brief.
Team Headquarters have emerged champions of the second edition of the Directorate of Road Traffic Services DRTS football tournament In the final played at the Old Parry Ground on Thursday, the champions beat Team Zone 6 4-3 on penalties after a 1-1 draw at regulation time. The game, the organizers said, was to encourage social bonding and building healthy minds among staff.
I'm very excited and I commend the management of the DRTS for putting up this wonderful competition. I mean, it was a thing of joy seeing the officers on the football field and not on the road. And apart from that, we need healthy officers to be on our roads. So it was a very beautiful one.
The nature of our work, we are more or less an enforcement agency. So if we continue to enforce and no avenue to unwind, then of course the job will be boring. So I'm very happy about the performance of our boys. They really surprised us, and I think we need to now pause for more investment in this side of sport, so that we can now represent, if possible, the entire FCT.
The tournament, which also featured a table tennis contest, got the commendations of stakeholders as they made commitment for its sustainability and expansion in subsequent edition. Meanwhile, Team Delta has emerged champions of the 8th National Youth Games for the second consecutive time. Team Delta had 46 gold, 31 silver and 34 bronze, totaling 111 medals. The host state of the Youth Games were declared winners at the closing ceremony held at the Stephen Keshi Stadium, Asaba, on Thursday. They were closely followed by Team Lagos, who had 26 gold, 20 silver and 19 bronze medals, while the third position goes to Team Edo, comprising 18 gold, 13 silver and 28 bronze medals. Elsewhere, in the Thursday Round 1 UEFA Champions League games, 10-man Barcelona suffered a 2-1 away loss at the Lois 2 Stadium to Monaco. Bayer Leverkusen were impressive away, thrashing Feyenoord 4-0. Europa League champions Atlanta were held to a goalless draw at home by Arsenal. With Sports Brief, Abdullah Hajia, NTA News.
And just before we go, here is a recap of some of our major stories. The Presidential Committee on Livestock Reforms Implementation submitted its report, expected to transform the sector for maximum benefits. And federal government deployed solar mini-grids to underserved security formations across the country to ensure uninterrupted power supply to critical national security assets. And that's the news. We appreciate you for joining us, and don't forget to join us again at 7 for more news. I am Miriam Emeka Amadi.